hey, my news has changed because it changed. So I'm on a dating app. It's called Bumble, and it lives up to its name. And I'm casually looking for a relationship, meaning I'm not vested that much into it, meaning I am interested in having a long-term relationship with a man that has my preferences of life choices and my values, my core values. And in so doing, the dating app is like a self-awareness, self-actualization tool. So I met this man, I'm going to call him Carl with a snarl, who was duplicitous. And at the same time, I recognized within myself, again, a willingness to check something out, even though I wasn't attracted to him right away. But that's the thing. All my narcissist partners in the past, I felt an attraction to. And not right away for the first one. The third one, big time. And he was the worst choice of a partner, the most toxic, the most caustic, the most damaging to my life and savings. He was the worst. So what I'm doing is I'm using this dating app to self-actualize, like creating firm boundaries. So Carl wanted to kiss me and be all lovey-dovey right up front, and I told him that I really was uncomfortable with him wanting to be intimate and kissing me on the lips and stuff before I really had gotten to know him. I mean, we met Dutch, and then we had a date for dinner. He invited me, and then we went hiking. And then we went to a yoga class, and then he asked me out to dinner again. So the 7 dates tops. And it was weird because this is how it ended. I am dog sitting, and I said, hey, we can walk down to, he'd been wanting to see me. And I said, we can walk down to dinner at, I told him where. And he goes, okay, I'll drive over. So I did my dog sitting gig, and we walked there, and I walked a fast pace to see whether or not his fitness level was mine too. And it was good. It was ample. It was good enough. And then we went to dinner, and just being with him and stuff, I don't even know what we talked about. I asked him questions about his kids. I asked him questions about his yoga practice. And he seemed agitated. And, you know, while we were walking and stuff, it was 20 minutes, he would reach over and take my hand. And I wouldn't mind holding his hand, you know, that it kept us together in traffic. But then it was like he would let go, and I would feel like some sort of weird vibe off of him. And I go, well, you know, yeah, it is sweaty. And just feeling how he was, you know, sensing him. So he's into gardening, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's how we're going to meet. We're going to meet tete-a-tete. We're going to garden together. And then he says he wants me to come over and cook once a week, because I told him I was interested in that. And he goes, would you be interested? I go, well, not every week, but yeah. Like twice a month. I would love to cook dinner with you. But I would love to do the majority of the cooking. But for now, because I have never been in your kitchen, yet I'm not going to do all that shopping. And I don't expect him to. And he doesn't have any spices. He showed me his kitchen. I saw what was in his kitchen. And he didn't even have the right salt, which would be like Redmond's real salt, which all has 84 elements, not the iodized table salt or just plain whatever. I mean, you can get Himalayan sea salts. I don't know the quality of sea salts, but I get, you know, this kind. It's very fine, Redmond sea salt. It's really, really fine, and it's pink. And it's really good. So that's what I use. And so Anyway, I suggested that. So we were building a conversation in between these 7 dates. And it was like, okay, well, we talked about, you know what, I dig you. We did yoga together. We went hiking. We had a lot of compatibility. I didn't need to give him a glossary. He knew the words kundalini. He knew the principles of chakras, you know? So I was like, okay. And he was doing yoga, like I told you. He didn't know what he was doing, though. But that's that. I went to the yoga class, too. I observed him, you know, imagining, okay, would he be able to be a very good sexual partner? Yes, I'm eyeballing. I'm sure they're doing the same thing. I don't want a guy that doesn't have flexibility. Some stiff old coon, you know? I need a man who's got the ability to move his body around. You know, I'm not like a pretzel. But a nice pumping action, you know, legs that can maneuver my body around and stuff. So I was checking. I go, okay, you know, and I didn't see his full legs until we went to this festival outside, outdoor music and arts and crafts and a river and trees. So it was like, you know, and food. So, you know, his food choices were different than mine. But, you know, he had chicken, jerk chicken, which was good. I tasted it. And a big old square of some sort of bread. And I had Mediterranean food. And I don't even remember what it was, but it was delicious. There was some sort of hot spice. Oh gosh, I don't know what it was, but it was good. It was a vegetable curry. That's right. It was a vegetable curry. Yeah, so he sends me a text after our date last night, and he goes, I'm not feeling the... No, he asked me something. It was not, I'm not feeling. He goes, I don't have the chemistry and the spark. Oh, don't feel the chemistry or the spark. Do you have any romantic feelings for me? And I'm like, okay. We'd already had the conversation about my boundaries, that I needed to get to know who this person is before, and where we would possibly, in other words, can I stand cooking in the kitchen with him? Which we never got to. But maybe he sends some sort of, he either has an avoidant personality type, or he's gay, or he is impotent, or, I mean, if he had only put it in the time, if he had put in the time, and because there's nobody that I've met that was anywhere near his supposed interest in what I'm interested in, I mean, he could have been mirroring me. Yeah. But yeah, and then he sends that text about, hey, he's not feeling any chemistry or spark, and he wants to know my romantic feelings for him. And then the next text is like, oh, I think I'm overthinking it. I'm sorry. And damage was done, man. I slept on it. And then the next day I said, if a man doesn't feel spark or chemistry for a woman, then he never will. And since you're not feeling it, then the relationship's over. Doesn't matter what my romantic inspirations, aspirations were for you. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You just trampled all of those potentialities underfoot, and I thank you for it. So that was the news, people. Carl and I didn't feel snarly too much, but I did feel a little bit of anger. But it wasn't bad. It was good, because I felt like mad at myself, because the red flags were there. He was over complimentary. He was over complimentary and like overly doting on me, and just couldn't be a man. And meaning just shut up sometimes and just look at me with adoring eyes. Just be there. Look out around rather than trying to charm me. Why don't you look out around, case the joint? You know what I'm saying? Be your protector. Look at the environment. Know where the exits are. Instead, and then he wants to know the 5 love languages of my choice. Well, the number 1 is the 5 languages of love. That messes people up. I know they talk about it and it's given some good press, but every man I've ever known that knows what the love languages are misappropriates the information that's from that book. I don't want to know what your love language is until I actually feel like I could love you. But I gotta like you first, dude. So yeah, I don't like this guy at all anymore after that. It's like, what's he doing? It's like, you know what? I said to him, there's no chance for us. I'll see you at the dinner that we both bought tickets for. No problem. And any other events, no hard feelings, but no. And then he writes me back this thoughtful text. And it was rather holier than thou. And at the same time trying to sound nice, but really he was being condescending. A man doesn't have to tell me that I'm wonderful and fun to be around, but when the fact remains that I am well aware of my value, and that when he came down to it at the end, he's like, yeah, I'm not ready to commit to a relationship, and you put up healthy boundaries, and I couldn't respect him. And then he couldn't respect himself, I guess. So that was that. Another one bites the dust. I've risen above.